They say a good doctor follows his own advice. Gojo had been silently swirling his drink for a while, and at first, Nanami didn't realize that the instructor was speaking to him. Does this pertain to the doll maker? No, to sorcerers in general, Gojo said. Ultimately, handling curses is about handling negative human emotions. It involves a lot of depressing work. You're talking about the danger of building up a curse within oneself, inquired Nanami. Even if you get used to this line of work, it doesn't feel good. It makes me want to get drunk. You ordered a Florida, right? That's non-alcoholic, Nanami said. I didn't do anything, right? So I'm not the one who needs to get drunk, Gojo stated outright. Don't rub it in. Gojo laughed as he watched Nanami drain his gimlet. Nanami, you're a little bit of a softie. Where did that come from? You know how to shut stuff out when necessary, but you're not totally immune to it. Adults have ways of relieving the friction that creates. Like alcohol, the wonder drug, Gojo said. This isn't a pleasant conversation. Must we continue? I'm not teasing you. Doubtful, Nanami looked at Gojo through his sunglasses. Gojo, he noticed, wasn't wearing his customary smirk. Nanami said nothing. Humans give birth to curses, so the time will come when one of my students will face the ill will of somebody truly nasty, Gojo said. Because they're sorcerers. The world was just an unfair place. Human ill will bred curses. All people, not just sorcerers, were capable of steeping themselves in bitterness, giving up, and drowning in lost hopes. Nanami knew that, and Gojo knew that Nanami was a man with such a past. We have ways of removing the poison that has circulated into our hearts, Gojo said. The young don't have that skill. They're too sensitive. At least once that poison will break their hearts. I suppose it's the adult's job to handle the poison that affects the young. As a teacher, you understand that, right? Yes, I do. That's why I came to talk to you. Gojo drained the glass and placed another order with the bartender. 2 Cinderellas. You must be joking. Nanami was disbelieving. An excessively sweet drink. It was, of course, non-alcoholic. Basically, just a mix of juices. Gojo directed his eyes to the shelf behind the bar and continued speaking. There's a kid I want you to look after at some point. Is it Fushiguro? Yujiitadori, you know him. I heard he died, said Nanami. He harbors the king of curses, which is a far cry from some charlatan using dolls to bring back the dead. The bartender set 2 glasses on the counter. The liquid inside was amber like the setting sun. Though, given the drink's name, maybe a full moon would be more apt. Or the color of the hair on the head of the boy that they were discussing. The cocktail was saccharine, like an overly romantic fairy tale in which everyone lives happily ever after. Gojo lifted his glass and swirled its contents. I'm busy, so this chance to kick back and talk to you without interruption is precious. I know you hate the jujutsu world at the moment, but I side with the regulations now. I don't know what you have in mind regarding Sukuna's vessel, but I don't mean Sukuna's vessel, Gojo said. I'm talking about the kid named Yujiitadori. His situation is not so simple that we can ignore the obvious when talking about him. Yuji's an alright kid. Gojo ran his finger around the rim of his glass. A faint, high sound, like that of a stringed instrument, rang out. He's determined and brave, and he's decisive in a fight. Nonetheless, he's a bit too upright sometimes. I'm worried that we'll break his heart eventually. Why are you telling me this? Nanami asked. I told you, I'm busy, so I can't promise I'll be able to give him the necessary spiritual guidance. If I could hand him off to you sometime, it'd help. And you think I'll do you this favor? That's why I'm asking. Whether he's a sorcerer or Sukuna's vessel, you're an adult who can help him grow up healthy. Gojo was always flippant, careless and half-joking, but that was precisely why you could tell when he was serious. I need someone who understands the suffering that people go through. Someone like you. Did you come all the way here to sweet-talk me? Well, you know I have a taste for sweets. Laughing, Gojo tilted his glass towards Nanami. The cocktail was sweet, sour, and glistening amber. Nanami stared at it in silence, as if it contained the precariousness of youth. I'm no good at that stuff, he said. Without any conscious effort to synchronize, the two drained their glasses as one. That's sweet. Delicious, ain't it? Their voices resonated in the subdued bar. The sorcerer's night grew long, and the sweet taste on their tongues was like all the swirling suffering of the world. Well, that was a hell of a chapter. How much relevance do you think we can pack into one short review? As if it contained the precariousness of youth, Nanami thought. Little did he know that synchronized draining of those glasses of juice that reminded him of innocence was him toasting to the doom of our protagonist and deuteragonist. Our protag 1 and protag 2. We have lost the boys. Spoiler alert. Anyway, what I hope to do in this short review of Chapter 2 is take you downstairs. We're going to go underground for a while. Not exactly like Hikari, but we're going to take things below the surface. When's the last time you've been below the surface in JJK, out of curiosity? Was it, I don't know, with Yuji and Gojo in the basement? You know, the fake execution thing. Not that one? Okay, you've been there? Okay. How about, like, Yuta? He was in that room too, right? Underground. Queen of Curses, King of Curses, underground. Somehow sealed in there, apparently. Gojo can't even blast a Sukuna finger through the wall in there, which is... it's like double duty, right? Okay, maybe not there. Maybe we're talking a different kind of special. Okay, so how about Mekamaru? Last time that you were downstairs in JJK, was it to look for the mole with Udahime and co? No. Oh, okay. Maybe different heavenly restriction. Right, got you. Okay. Maybe the last time you were there was for Maki's family reunion and funeral, mass funeral. Group, it's more economic that way. No? Okay, all right. Maybe the ropes that you were looking for were back in that room, you know, with Yuta and Yuji, but this time they were being cut by Kusakabe and they were on Panda's wrists. Was that the last time you were downstairs? No? All right. Okay, cool. Maybe you remember more of the curse side of things. Maybe the last time that you were underground in JJK was reading poetry with Mahito in the sewers. I mean, Junpei was there too. So, I mean, but reading poetry with Mahito in the sewers. No? That, okay. How about a different kind of special, different star plasma vessel? Maybe last time you were downstairs was when you were with Gojo and he was carrying out that little girl's body and, you know, felt like a mass murderer all of a sudden. Not that time. All right. Okay. So, how about like we take the elevator this time and we go down to where that little girl was killed? No. Star plasma corridor, tomb of the star corridor. Man, some shit went down there recently. Who knew that you could house a whole black hole underground? That is insane, right? Like, psh. Anyway, this is about Megumi. So, come downstairs, follow me. I got some thoughts for you to hear. You can consider this, you know, your jujutsu training for 2 months underground. Where did Sukuna expand his domain? Above the surface. I don't know if you see that. Can you see it? If I timed it right, you can see it. Where is Megumi's domain? If you ask Reggie, he's gonna say nowhere. But who's gonna ask him? Don't you dare say Hazunoki. You leave him out of this. Below the surface. The answer is below the surface. Sukuna expands his domain above the surface. Megumi expands his domain below the surface. If you follow me on Twitter, once upon a time I tweeted, Megumi's shadow is heavier than you. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter how cursed he currently is. That just makes that boy deeper. And when it comes to his curse technique, you are playing with far more than fire. You're asking for the smoke, you're asking for the shade, and you're probably asking for like a Max Maharaga. He tamed his Shikigami. Just like Toji tamed his worm. That sounds wild. I'm not going to lie to you. That sounds wild. That loyalty is not manipulatable, as we've seen. R.I.P. Ghetto. Anyway, I digress. Moral of the story is, don't worry about what's upstairs. When what's upstairs always ends up getting drugged to the basement. You can think of that as the higher-ups. You can think of that as the black hole underground, exposing daylight to the tomb of the Star Corridor for the first time in probably a friggin' millennia. You can think of that as Megumi's shadow suddenly emerging from darkness, blacker still, purifying that which is impure and stuff. Sometimes you gotta be drugged through the basement to get to the throne room. Does that make sense? Dante would think so. Dante would agree. Gotta go through it to get through it. I think we're good. See y'all in chapter 3.